Hi everyone, today we did get that bounce that we've been looking for. It was a little bit less aggressive than I thought that it might be, and it did have a reversion here, held the 21 EMA and bounced. Want to see a little bit more out of this, but let's take a quick look at the charts as we head into the weekend. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. In news today, we did get PCE data coming in line with expectations, and that did push the markets up here. So nice little move up about 0.5% really across the board, but 2.7 on the PCE data and 0.3% on the monthly gain, all in line with expectations. So inflation not going higher, GDP numbers were good, new home sales also were good this year. So seems like everything in terms of data is going well for the markets, and this is another iteration of that, giving markets a little bit of a boost here today. Then looking at the economic calendar here, you can see PCE data 2.7%, core PCE prices 2.9% month over month, both in line with expectations, overall good. Personal spending up a little bit, inflation expectations also down a little bit. Consumer sentiment not super great. Atlanta Fed GDP really good there at a 3.9. So everything is good for markets, good for the economy. Nothing seems to be weakening, at least for now. Then moving over to the charts here, looking at the SPY, you can see that double bottom we had yesterday, got the rally out as we expected. Did kind of hesitate here around that kind of 662 area. That was kind of this consolidation low here from the 22nd, the high here from the 16th. I still think we'll get a continuation here into the Monday. Not expecting this to be done quite yet, but did hesitate just a little bit more than I would have expected in the short term. Still want to see this at least hit the SMA on the RSI for the daily chart, so you have a little bit of room there before we get the touch. And then you got that overhead trend line around kind of 664, 80, 665 area. Either way, everything still looks bullish here, not overbought quite yet on the short time frames. Expecting this to continue to stay bullish. Moving over to the Tasty charts, you can see we hit that upper ATR band back into bullish conditions, pulled back to the middle of the range, continuing higher towards that upper band around 663.70. So a little bit higher there, and this will continue to drift up. For the Monday session, bullish conditions, trailing stop is going to be 658.35. I'm going to expect this to continue to stay bullish based on this structure here as well. Moving over to the NASDAQ, really no changes to the thesis here. You can see double bottom, rallied up. The pullback was a little bit more aggressive on the NASDAQ, but ended up rallying out just like the SPY chart. So a little bit tougher of a move to trade on the NASDAQ, a little bit cleaner on the SPY. Momentum still fading. RSI still has a little bit of room, still not overbought on the hourly chart. Really no changes here. Expecting this to continue to go. I think this will probably go back towards that 600 level, which is why I have that alert up at that level. Then looking at the NASDAQ here, did get into bullish conditions, but it took a little bit longer. That first push did not do it. That didn't quite hit that upper ATR band. So the SPY chart was a little bit more bullish, a little bit cleaner, pulled back here to that first ATR band, and then we got the push into bullish conditions, closed above it on that 1 o'clock candle, and then kind of hesitated here, not showing as much strength on the NASDAQ. But if we do get the push to the upper band, that would be right around kind of 599 or so, pretty much in line with that 600 target on the NASDAQ. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, the Russell here on the hourly chart, you can see we did get that continuation, still looked a little bit stronger, similar to the SPY charts, pulled back, hit that 21 EMA, touched the 21 and kind of rallied out here, got above the level 241.05, closed above that level. 55 is still your resistance on the hourly at 241.46. Want to see it push through there. Realistically, I think this is going to go back to 244. Hopefully on the Monday, we'll see. And then looking at it here on the daily chart, you can see that kind of gap down, gap up style of move off of that 21 EMA on the daily chart. Still expecting this to push, like I said, to 244, maybe even to the trend line there, and then we'll see, is this the topping pattern or is this a continuation higher? And then looking at the Dow, same thesis, gap down, gap up, got back above that 9 EMA, like to see that, would have wanted to see the Russell do it, but it didn't quite, so a little bit stronger there. Momentum still a little bearish, RSI didn't quite get to the SMA, so a little bit more room to go. I think we'll definitely get at least a double top on the Dow, and then we'll see, does this push to that next zone around the kind of 470 area. Moving over to the Mag 7. Mag 7 didn't look nearly as strong. It actually looked even a little bit weaker than the NASDAQ here. You can see kind of choppy zone around this 366 area. Did rally out, did get above the highly traded zone, kind of above this consolidation low area around 370, but not by much, right? Would have liked to see this be a little bit more aggressive, push towards kind of 373, push towards the trend line. Still a solid base, definitely some buyers coming in here here, but Mag 7 not doing as well as the broader markets today. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft, very little changes here for both of these. Apple still in the same zone, still believe this is going to go to 260, and then Microsoft, same kind of thesis, hit the level, held support, continued to hold support, got a retest of that area, and then bounced back above the trend line there. That's nice as well. That is signaling a little bit more bullishness to go. Can this push towards that trend line of about 2.5–2.75% higher? Momentum a little bit bullish, RSI a little bit bullish. Maybe you get a little bit more out of this, but I'm still not expecting this to get above the kind of 538 area. Still think this is going to go sideways. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA. Tesla had a really nice day, up 4%. Continues to hold this zone, continues to find buyers. This is likely to go towards that all-time high. We've been watching this here. Still staying pretty bullish. Still think this will go towards 460 and then potentially that 480 area. And then I have a level for 500 as kind of a target out there. Either way, continued to hold the level for 1450. We said as long as that holds, we'll be continuing to stay bullish here. And the structure is still very much bullish. So bullish on Tesla, and then NVIDIA up about 0.25%, nothing crazy. Threw a wick to the level, that 180 level, and then pulled back from there. So pretty much unchanged. Need to see it get above 183, but for now, we're still kind of in that 180 area. Do have higher lows coming in, so there is some buyers still. Didn't really expect this to crater immediately, but still not really finding the continuation on NVIDIA quite yet. Moving over to staples and discretionary. Staples continues to do not much of anything. We've been in the same zone we've been in really since back here December of 24, and we are still here now in September of 25, so not a ton of movement. Did kind of come down and touch the level, 77.50. Low of day was 77.49, so touched the level, caught a little bit of a bounce. It's up a little bit more after hours. Is this a little bit of a base where we can get some rally into the kind of 80 area? Not a ton of movement on staples, not a very volatile ETF, but does seem to have found a little bit of a base there. And then discretionaries up 1.5% on the back of that Tesla move. Like to see that gapped up, rallied right to the 90 MA, want to see it get above that and push. Realistically, want to see this go back to that kind of trend line of 250. That marked the previous top here. If we can get the continuation up there, that would be a nice move. Moving over to breadth. Breadth recovered nicely as you would expect. Nice move up, nice move on breadth as well. So nice confirmation there on both of these. Dipped a little bit low yesterday. Was a little concerned about it, but nice rally out, nice close on the high. Everything says should continue higher on the Monday. Moving over to the dollar. Dollar did pull back just a little bit, not a lot, but a little, and it is starting to hold support here. I still think this will go higher, at least one more iteration before we see any kind of changes. Had a nice couple moves here with a rally up here, pulled back, rally up here, pulled back a little deeper, double bottom at the trend line, rallied out. So there's definitely some buyers on the dollar. It's starting to look like a bit of a position allocation, starting to accumulate position on the dollar. Potentially some of those bigger buyers, these banks have to accumulate positions over long periods of time, and this has been a while here in this zone since April to current of September. Is somebody establishing a longer term position here for a bigger move out? Seems like that might be the case on the dollar. Moving over to bonds. Bonds caught a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a risk on move here for JNK. So again, nice confirmation there off of the level. TLT hit the 89.16 level and then pulled back just a little bit. It's up a little more after hours. Again, similar thesis really to the dollar. I think people are accumulating position here in TLT for a longer term bull move, which got plenty of time, right? We've been here since September of 23. We're still here in September of 25. We'll see if this eventually becomes more valuable. I still think that it will. Moving over to the VIX, as suspected, this did pull back. Is this going to establish kind of a bottoming pattern here? Still think that it will ultimately, but for now, expecting at least one more day of pullback down into the zone around that 14.7 area, potentially down to 14.3. Then we'll see what happens after that. Moving over to my accounts, I continue to hold these same positions. Rolled out one more time here to the Monday at 242 for about $1. So got about $450 back on these positions. And then I still have $2.30 credit left for the Monday. Still think we'll get a nice rally out. Would like to see this come all the way in, and that should get us back to profitability. Got another 50 cents credit, so continuing to collect credits on these every single day, and as long as we get a nice rally out, should be in good shape for the Monday. And then looking at the dollar, still sitting on this position. It's about 50% loser right now. We'll see. I still think the dollar is going to go higher over the medium term, so still sitting on this position. Still a ton of time on it. It's long dated. Got plenty of time to see what happens. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the inflation data and really all of the economic data this week. Does that give you more confidence as an investor, or are we just too expensive to continue to go higher? Let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.